Hello, today we're just going to talk a little bit about collectibles and some important things you need to know if you don't already. Firstly, something I've learned along the way is that it is best to keep things inside their boxes as they retain their value more. So things like your Funko Pops, any sort of collectibles, keep them in their packaging and they will retain a higher value. So out of box stuff will have a lower value than things in its packaging. Another thing that really matters is the condition of the packaging. So when you are purchasing items, especially if you're in the store, try to find the boxes that have, no creasing, scratches, dents, things like that. It can be hard when you're buying online because you don't get to inspect the actual item. So some things we have purchased have come with, some damage to the boxes. Collectible places are obviously a bit better. Their stuff's usually in better condition, but if you are buying from a large retailer, the boxes and stuff may not be in perfect condition. So just keep that in mind with all your little collectibles. But yes, trying to keep them in their boxes is the best option if you can. Okay, and next, it's important to protect your collectibles. So most things these days you can get protectors for. There are different types of protectors. I'm going to talk about the main ones that we use. So with things like our Funko Pops, they're all in these sort of acrylic little cases. So that just gives them some extra protection and protects the box there. So they sort of look like, this is a larger one. But yeah, they usually come folded down. You pop them out and put your pop in them. So they are for pop vinyls. A lot of figures and things, you can buy special protectors for those as well. And then things like cards. Now, I'm not really into these. My husband collects a lot of different cards, so I don't know much about this, but you can get penny sleeves. You can get these hard little cases here. And then for displaying purposes, you can buy little plastic stands that pop them up as well. So there's lots of stuff for cards. But yeah, the main thing is just keeping it protected from the elements so it stays in good condition. When handling things like cards, you can, open card packs wearing gloves if you're really worried. And that obviously will help if there is a real valuable card in there. You don't want to have, oil and residue from your fingers getting on those items. So yeah, really important if you can to protect your items. Plenty available these days. Another important thing with your collectibles is where you're storing them. So be mindful of things like dampness or wet, things that could cause mold. Some items can go moldy. Another thing to be mindful of is things like light. So sunlight, if sun is coming in a particular window and hitting that item all the time, you probably will get some fading. So sun and light damage can affect your collectible items. So be mindful of that as well. But yeah, just want to have them somewhere where they're fairly safe and protected from the elements. Now, if you're trying to find out what an item you have is worth, one of the best things you can do is look at eBay and look at, you can filter it down to the sold items and then you can see what people have been purchasing that particular item at. So that will give you a rough idea of what your item is worth because that's what people have been paying. One thing to keep in mind with that when you are comparing values is to compare the condition. So if yours is an out of box or, has a really damaged box, but you're looking at ones on eBay that have been sort of mint condition, then obviously that's still going to be a higher value than what yours would be valued at. But yeah, get a feel for it, look at all the sold items, and you should get a pretty good indicator of what your item is worth. Now, before making your purchases, it is a good idea to have a little Google search and just see where your item is being stocked and what price it is selling for. So, you can sometimes save a little bit of money by looking around. Some items, might only be sold at one or two retailers and you're going to obviously have to just purchase from them. But for example, recently I've wanted some of the new Little People collector items and some of the new Polly Pocket releases. And these have been available at Myer in Australia. And when they've had a 20% off sale, I've snagged a few of those. So I was able to save a decent amount of money by getting those on sale. So it does pay to just have a little shop around As I said, some items, you know, you're not going to have many people selling them, but some might be sold at plenty of different, you know, large department stores, toy shops and things like that. So definitely have a look around just to try and save yourself a little bit of money, because it does get a little bit expensive buying all these items.